Hello, let's play Wordle for Friday, June 26th. Yesterday we spun the wheel. It said to start with gnome. Ooh, I was about to say all gray, but we have an E at the end. So common letters are S, T, R, L. I'd like to use as many of these as I can. Stale seems pretty good. Okay. So A and T are going to go somewhere. Is it like A? I wonder if there's a double T I could do just to find where the T is. I could do farty. Huh. I mean, my thought is probably TA, but then I can't think of anything. Huh. All right. How about an A here and then like ending in TE? And so like an ARTE? Party. What does this? That's kind of my question. Is pate a word like this? You know, I'm going to try it. All right, well, there's only one T and we found it. And then we start with A. Okay, so that's what was throwing me off, I guess. So what is this? I guess Arise starters are doing pretty well today. The A and the E placed. Acute. Like an acute angle. Nice. All right, pate or whatever that word is helped. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious how many words were left because it was hard to think of any, but I doubt it was just acute. I think I got a little lucky. But let's spin the wheel and see what tomorrow's starting word will be. It is Holly. It's just by Jim Riley. So I guess we'll be learning something about L's tomorrow. And let's look at the bot. All right. The answer was acute. And we started with gnome. So gnome might lose if the G and the E are green. That's interesting. I didn't think that would be so trappy, but yeah, I guess. So it's just trace instead of stale. Is stale here? Is stale even? Just want to make sure. Yeah, stale was a possible answer. All right, it says trace. I need to kind of remember that trace is a good word. Anyway, stale. Stale might have lost on the aced trap. Yeah, because it gets that A, S, and T. That's why it wants. That's why it doesn't want to do the A, S, and T together. So there's a lot of there's two aced trap words that it would lose on, and then also tripe and share. The AE is also bad, but trace gets that. But I guess it's not so bad with trace. Anyway, so I guess this wasn't great. There were 5 words left here: acute, bathe, cart, like a la carte. I don't know. Haute and top, taupe. Never know how to pronounce some of these words. And pate was an unlikely. I wonder how much it liked it. It was 2.2, and acute was the only answer left. There are 2 unlikelies: arete and excite. 2.2 is down here and really tied with these guys. So could have done better, but I didn't think of all the options. But anyway, acute was the only answer left. All right, let's go back and see how trace would have done. Acute or cast, that's it. I guess we have most of the letters, so could be a 3 or a 4. All right, let's look at tails. With the yellow EAT, we're going to go heart. Okay. Then we're down to acute and a tone, so a 3 or a 4 again. Steel, same 3 letters, still yellow. We're going to go trace this time. And now it's only acute. I don't know why I can never remember that trace is a good guess. I should really remember that. Adieu has all the vowels, A, E, and U. We're down to 5 words that do that: abuse, acute, amuse, argue, and azure. It says do abuse or amuse. They get each other, right? That's why you kind of want to do that. There's nothing else will get that will distinguish the 2. Once you do that, you could get azure or acute, so a 3 or 4. I'm curious about amuse, if it's any different. It's not. Anyway, audio. It goes right to abuse, amuse. Okay, yeah, it's the same thing, basically. Okay, 3 or 4. Stare, very common starting word. We're going to follow up with lathe. It's fun. And then it's only acute. All right. And then perk tries to get it in 2. We're down to 26 words. So 1 in 26 to guess acute, but it says to go latte. Get that double T in. Latte slightly better than lathe, which is interesting. And then acute is the only word left after that. And finally, tarps is what the official bot starts with. Suggest cleat here. And then we're down to only acute. So it gets a 3. All right. Well, let's check with the bot. See how people are doing today. Okie dokie. Save this. That's cute. Very, very acute photo. All right. Hard mode. Give me an 88 skill score. 59 luck. So how many people started with gnome? 174. We've got stare, slate, stale. I guess for Saleh anagrams, the ones ending in E are slate and stale. I don't know why I thought of slate over stale. Slate has a 1.6 solve rate. Stale has a 1.9. Trace has a 1.7. So people who went slate did really well. I wonder... Oh, it's because it gets the green T for acute. Yeah, yellow A, green TE. You're probably going to think of acute. All right, so going for stale instead of slate was a mistake in this case. It would have gone slate. Stale, it gave a 98. Slightly worse. All right. Pate, it gave a 66. Hot would have been better according to this bot. Or just go for the answer, acute. All right. And then it goes tarps, cleat, acute. That sounds familiar. 0.4 starting with acute in hard mode, huh? I wonder if there are actually people starting with acute then. About 0.1 or 0.2%. All right, 10.3, 50.5. That's a big jump. 86.3, 97.9, rated 99. Yeah, it's not really a choppy word. Let's upload acute PNG. Okay. Regular mode, what's it give me? 83, even worse. People are doing stare, place, slates, plate, stale, trace, trade. What does the best? Trace did the best of a normal. No, crate did the best. Crate being a trace anagram in this case. Yeah, getting that TE in place makes a big difference. I'm pretty sure after crate, probably it's the only answer. Okay. It goes slate acute. Good job. Yeah, slate is very powerful here. Acute gets a 0.6. Why didn't I think to do slate? Silly. Yeah, this is slightly higher too. So 0.1 or 0.2% of people are starting with acute every day, I think. 8.5, 43.9. I still wish there was a feature of, and here's how many started with it yesterday. just to throw a little shade on the cheaters, right? All right, and 98.9. Okay. Well, how'd you do?